Paul, you conservatives make a mistake. You can't afford to strangle hope in people. Without hope, people become dangerous.
No, Howard. You liberals have let them invade our society. You give them jobs, political jobs.
Paul, you missed the point. It's only the smart ones we move up.
That makes it even worse.
No, we have to move them up. If we leave a smart one in the ghetto, he might develop into a leader against us. But if we raise him up into white society, we neutralize him. He feels compelled to try to act like us. He loses his identity and his racial anger, if he has any. He becomes alien to his brothers. They realize he sold them out and they grow to hate him. He becomes worthless to them and safe for us. No, thank you. In fact, in his love for the creature comforts, except for his color, he's become one of us.
I need black.
Hey, Shalom. I like to give all praises, glory, and honors to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakapadash. I like to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace, salutation, and blessings to the elect who firmly believe in Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai. Now, as you can see, that is the mindset of the so-called white man. And I'm not sure if you guys caught the caption, but it said something along the lines, blacks being used as blacks to destroy each other, something to that effect. And when I came across that caption, this particular scripture came to mind. This is how we know that the scriptures are valid and true, right? Valid and true. Even that episode of the scene out of the movie Boys in the Hood, where he said, when he's talking about gentrification, Lawrence Fishburne character, and he had a lot of those Jakes gathered around, this that actually personifies this scripture, and what you see exemplifies this scripture. This is the book of Psalm, chapter 119, verse 95. The wicked have waited for me to destroy me, but I will consider thy testimonies. That's right. The wicked is the so-called white man, as you've seen them around that table. And they have waited for me, meaning what? An Israelite, to destroy me, which is also an Israelite. And as you see, they said, we take the smart of them, the intelligent ones of them, and give them political jobs, right? Give them political jobs, pretty much bring them into their fold so he can get rid of his racial anger, and they could be more of a safe haven to them as opposed to threat and worthless to the rest of the so-called Negroes, but I just want to pretty much focus on this chapter because this pretty much explains, the nature of this devil and how he uses our people to destroy the rest of our people, being so-called Negroes and Latinos, right? This is the book of Sirach, Ecclesiasticus, chapter 13. I'm going to start at verse 1. I'm going to just read it the whole through. If another scripture hits me, I'll tap into it, but I kind of just want to focus on this particular chapter. This is the book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 13, verse 1. He that toucheth pit shall be defiled therewith, and he that hath fellowship with a proud man shall be like unto him. And that's what he said. Aside from his color, they will be just like us, right? Because now, one thing about this devil, and they may mention in the clip how they will attempt to take upon their mannerisms. Right. And one thing about Jake, when you see them get some money or that you see them raising up in that particular stature, they start crossing their legs. They start getting their steaks rare, medium rare. They start dressing like the so-called white man. They start being more soft-spoken, and things of that nature. They conduct themselves in abominable sexual behavior, so they are like unto the so-called white man. Right? It says, burden not thyself above thy power while thou livest, and have no fellowship with one that is mightier and richer than thyself. This is wisdom. But our people are so much in turmoil. Our people are so distressed that they can't even take heed to this instruction because they want to live the good life. It's one thing if you earn your wealth upon your own, so to speak, to where you don't need the devil or you don't need to sell out to the devil. That's one thing, but, in this society, he has it to where you need him, right? Look at Kanye West. He went against the code, so to speak, whether it be a psyop or not. But it just goes to show when you go against the grain, so to speak, when you go against these elites, these small hats, they disconnect all connections that they had with you that made you a millionaire or that made you a billionaire, right? It says, for how agree the kettle and the earthen pot together? For if the one be smitten against the other, it shall be broken. The rich man have done wrong, and yet he threateneth withal. The poor is wrong, and he must entreat also. If thou be for his profit, he will use thee. And what he say? We take the intelligent ones, right? He said, we'll take the intelligent ones and bring them on our level so he can be useless to the rest of them. And that's a case in point right here. Hey, Jay-Z's a prime example. Kevin Hart's prime example. Puff Daddy, prime example. They're the intelligent ones within their craft. But now they make them political leaders. Why is Cardi B having a political conversation, about Donald Trump or with Donald Trump, or even Kanye West with Donald Trump? They trying to turn Kanye West talking about he's running for political office in 2024. So it says, if thou be for his profit, he will use thee. But if thou have nothing, he will forsake thee. And that's what happens. He don't provide no opportunity in the ghettos. That's why we're stuck, in this condition, for the most part as a people. But ultimately, we know it's the Lord and the curses that are upon us, right? It says, verse 5, if thou have anything, he will live with thee. And a lot of things, and what Jake has is what? Talent. Whether they be basketball stars, actors, actresses, rappers, singers, podcasters now, if thou be for his profit, he will use thee. You see these guys, $1 million worth of game, Gilly the Kid and Wallow, they just signed $100 million deal, with bar stools, because why? They are an influence. They have a so-called voice amongst the black community. So they feel as though if we can control Gilly and Wallow, guess what? We can control the masses of the so-called Negroes. That's how this thing works, man. If thou be for his profit, he will use thee. It says, if thou have anything, he will live with thee. Yeah, he will make thee bear and will not be sorry for it. If he have need of thee, he will deceive thee and smile upon thee and put thee in hope. That's right. And to get them to what? Sign those contracts. We'll put you in the biggest mansions. You'll have beautiful cars all round about you. Hey, you want beautiful women? Hey, we got that for you. Do a little bit of drugs? We got that for you. Because he wants to instill confidence in you that you're making the right decision, when in actuality, it's the wrong decision, because it's going to lead to your destruction. It says he will speak thee fair and say, what wantest thou? What do you want? Anything you want, I can give you. I have it at the palm of my hand, right? It says, and he will shame thee by his meats. And the thing is, they tried the same thing with Yahweh Shai when we read Matthew, the 4th chapter. But what did Yahweh Shai do? He combated him with the spirit of the Lord, the word. It says, and he will shame thee by his meats until he have drawn thee dry twice or thrice. And at the last he will laugh thee to scorn afterward. When he seeth thee, he will forsake thee and shake his head at thee. Beware that thou be not deceived and brought down in thy jollity. If thou be invited of a mighty man, withdraw thyself. That's right. Turn it down, man. You had this one guy, Ali Vegas. He went into this party, seen a lot of Mo behavior going on, and he turned it down. He turned down the deal, because you got to sell your soul. In a lot of cases, you got to give up your butt. You know what I'm saying? You got to give up your butt to these elites, these small hats, man, and they're going to record it. So it says, if thou be invited of a mighty man, withdraw thyself, and so much the more will he invite thee. Press thou not upon him, lest thou be put back. Stand not far off, lest thou be forgotten. Affect not to be made equal unto him in talk, and believe not his many words. For with much communication will he tempt thee, and smiling upon thee will get out thy secrets. That's right, because he attempts to make you feel comfortable. He might slip you a Mickey in your drink, give you a little truth serum, just so he can understand how your mind works. A lot of times these entertainers, these rappers and singers, they have these handlers, and when they're new to the industry, they ask them what their vice is, so they could provide the vibe, they could provide them their vice just to make them more comfortable. You got to beware, man. And the same thing happens on a low level, you know. You got something called peer pressure, you know. We have the hope for elect. We're not falling into that peer pressure, man. It says, hey, but you got some guys out there who took the bag. You know, you got some guys out there who took the bag. You know, this same thing applies to Israel. You know, some guys out there sold out to these gutter rats, man. We know who they are. You know who they are, right? It says, but cruelly he will lay up thy words and will not spare to do thee hurt and to put thee in prison. That's right. You see what happened to DMX time and time again. It says, observe and take good heed, for thou walkest in peril of thy overthrowing. When thou hearest these things, awaken thy sleep. Love the Lord all thy life, and call upon him for thy salvation. Every beast loveth his like, and every man loveth his neighbor. All flesh consorteth according to kind, and a man will cleave to his like. What fellowship hath the wolf with the lamb, so the sinner with the godly? None. You know, that's why we don't mesh with the world, 2/3 of the world. That's why we don't mesh with Edom. You know, we're the lamb, he's the wolf. He's the sinner, we're the godly. What agreement is there between the hyena and the dog, and what peace between the rich and the poor? As the wild asses the lions prey, in the wilderness so the rich eat up the poor. As the proud hate humility, so doth the rich abhor the poor. A rich man beginning to fall is held up of his friends, but a poor man being down is thrust away by his friends. When a rich man is fallen, he hath many helpers. He speaketh things not to be spoken. and guess what Kanye's doing? He's speaking things not to be spoken. You know? It says when a rich man fall, he have many friends, you know. But hey, Kanye, you still a nigga. You still under the curses, man. You know, this is what they call cancel culture at this point. They canceling you. It says he speaketh things not to be spoken, yet men justify him. The poor man slipped, and yet they rebuked him too. He spake wisely and could have no place. And that's likened unto Kanye, as you see. You know, first and foremost, us. You know, because everything he's saying, you know, as far as, you know, us being Israelites, 12 tribes of Israel, he got it from us, you know, but they calling him anti-Shemitic for those comments, you know, but, you know, we get scoffed and scorned for speaking his truth, and he's speaking his truth as far as, you know, the music industry and everything like that. You see what they doing to him. He has no place. It says, when a rich man speaketh, every man holdeth his tongue. And look what he saith, they extol it to the clouds. Because the motto upon our people is that if I have more money than you, I shouldn't listen to you. That's the narrative. You know, you got this one guy that I know of. He says the only thing that matters in this world is money. You know, so when people say that, you gotta remove yourself from individuals like that. You can't kick it with individuals like that. You know, it says when a rich man speaketh, every man holdeth his tongue, and look what he saith, they extol it to the clouds. You know, that's why you see, you know, Steve Harvey with these quotes and, you know, smooth sayings. Jay-Z with these quotes and smooth sayings. You know, on social media, you see everybody reposting it. They holding it to the clouds because they're rich. You know, you're not going to see Apostle Tahar being going viral all over Instagram and Facebook from speaking the truth, man, because we are media blocked. You know, we're media blocked, man, but it's all right. Whoever's meant to see it is going to see it. You know, who's going, and that's the elect. You know, this thing is special. You know, the Lord is dealing with a small number. It says, but the poor man speak, they say, what fellow is this? And if he stumble, they will help to overthrow him. Riches are good unto him that hath no sin, and poverty is evil in the mouth of the ungodly. The heart of a man changeth his countenance, whether it be for good or evil, and a merry heart maketh a cheerful countenance. A cheerful countenance is a token of a heart that is in prosperity, and the finding of parables is weariness, labor of the mind. You know, so this particular chapter is the sellout chapter. You know, how Jake sells out to Edom, and how Edom, the so-called white man, uses our people for their own purpose. You know, so it's about being aware. You know, if you're not aware, you'll be taken by this devil. But through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, he woke us up to this truth, and we know better. And since we know better, therefore we shall do better. You know, so Lord willing, this lesson was edifying unto the elect. With that, I like to give all praises, glory, and honors to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, Bashim Akakwadash. I like to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and blessings to the elect. Shalom.